Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my first cooking video on the super easy and healthy recipe that I made with the salmon and beet salad. So if you want to learn how to make it, please keep watching. So before we get to the cooking part, I'm just going to show you guys what I use to make this dish. And I have a whole fillet of salmon. I'm making extra, so I have a lot of portions, 4 beets, 1 bunch of thyme, and I'm not using all of it, 1 brown onion, 1 peach, 1 lemon, a box of kale mix, honey, grounded pistachios, pepper, kosher salt, and you can use any kind of salt, some light butter, and garlic powder and onion. So the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees. While you're waiting, you can go ahead and prepare the beets. Since beets take the longest to roast, I went ahead and washed mine first because mine was a little dirty, and cut off the little leaves that came with it. And then right here you can see I am just cutting off the ends, and the reason why I'm doing that is because it gives it more of an even cooking while it's in the oven. And right here you can see I am going to be putting each beet individually in its own foil. I'm going to go ahead and season it with just, basic salt and pepper and a little bit of oil. I believe the one that I have is vegetable oil. Just a light drizzle. And I'm going to be repeating this step 4 times since I do have 4 beets. So once I'm done with all 4 beets, I'm just going to be placing them on a baking tray, which is going to go into an oven that's set at 350 for 45 minutes. Guys, please do keep in mind that the time that I'm allocating for the beets in the oven is based on the size of my beets. If you're using smaller beets, go ahead and take it out earlier. And now for the peach dressing, I'm just going to be cutting up a peach. You can use more or less, but for the amount that I needed, I only needed 1. As you can see, I'm just cutting them up. Go ahead and grab a spoon to help you out de-seed the peach. Sometimes it is a little bit of a struggle. And next, you'll see me cut the peaches. Try to cut them all uniform just because you want the same consistency when they cook. So for the next step, you're going to need a small pot to place all these peaches in so they can cook on their stovetop. And next step, you'll see me grab a lemon. I use the lemon to give it a little bit of a flavor, and I go ahead and use a zester. And what that's going to do is just take a little bit of the skin and give it more of a concentrated zesty flavor. As you can see, you didn't see it on the ingredients list, but last minute I grabbed a tangerine or a cutie because I wanted another like citrusy flavor, which is an orange, preferably an orange if you do have that. And I would go ahead and use a zester and do the same thing for the skin. And I'm going to go ahead and use the juices for both the lemon and the tangerine to put in the pot. So after I add the juices from the orange, I'm just going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar, and I'm going to put it over the stove on medium heat. So while I have the peaches on the stove, I'm just going to go ahead and cut up my brown onion that I have here. I do realize at the end of me filming this clip that I needed to cut up the whole onion, so just keep that in mind that I will be using the entire thing. So as you can see, I'm just slicing the onions finely. I just didn't want like big chunks. So now I'm preparing my baking sheet with the onions for my base. And now I'm taking this fresh thyme and I'm just going to place it right on top of it So when I put the salmon on, it's gonna have all of these wonderful fresh flavors of the onion and the thyme. And I'm also gonna cut up some lemons to place on top to cut out that like any type of fishiness. So right now I'm just going to be portioning out my salmon. You can buy whichever one you like. Some you can buy already cut up for you, and some is just like this. I prefer to buy them like this because they're a little bit more cheaper, and also I like to be able to portion them out myself. Dun, 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 dun. And as for the seasoning, I'm going to be just keeping it simple with salt and pepper. Just make sure you season both sides of the fish so it will have that even flavor. So now I have my salmon seasoned. I'm just gonna put my pan on medium-high heat, which I eventually turned into high right before I put the salmon down. It's gonna be with a little bit of the oil and a touch of butter. The butter will help it brown and add a little bit more flavor. And what I do is I sear the salmon on each side for 2 minutes very quickly. And as you can see, there's color. And then I'm going to be placing it on the baking pan that's going to go in the oven and let it finish cooking for about 10 to 12 minutes. Depending on how thick your salmon is, it could be less, it could be more. Just probably gauge 2 to 3 minutes apart. And we're going to be moving on into making our dressing. Now, time to make our peach dressing. I am just going to be taking the peaches that were sitting on the stove, cooled off already, and I'm going to be taking my handy dandy NutriBullet and putting the peaches in there. And then what I'm going to do, since I didn't have enough liquid, I'm just going to add a little bit of water into the pot. And because the sugar has hardened already, I'm just going to turn on the heat a little bit just to melt it down. You probably don't need more than even like half a cup, just a little bit to get the water like going in the NutriBullet. And then basically you wanted more of like a puree type of consistency, nothing like overly runny and nothing like overly thick. And then after that, we're gonna go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients. Alright, so now I'm taking that peach puree, I'm just gonna put it in a clean bowl where we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients for our dressing. And right here I have half a lemon, and then I'm also taking my honey. I'm not using more sugar because I feel like there's going to be too much sugar from the peaches when we were cooking it down. And then salt and pepper, and then also my vegetable oil. I didn't have any grapeseed oil or olive oil on hand, so also, by the way, I know you guys see me using a fork, but use a whisk better. It incorporates the oil and the puree a lot better. I couldn't find where my whisk went, so I went with the next best thing, which was a fork. So last but not least, we have our beets, and I think at this point I had let them cool from the oven for about 10-15 minutes, but please be careful because beets do tend to hold on to the heat very well. And so as you can see, I'm still kind of struggling right here, but I do find it a lot easier to remove the skin with paper towel while it's still hot, because once it cools down, the skin tends to stick. And then use some paper towel. Try not to use your towels because it's going to stain. And then right here, I'm just cutting the beets just the way I wanted to. I think I wanted half moons or something, but you can cut them any way you like, or let them cool down first before cutting them again. And that's pretty much about it. You just need to assemble everything onto a plate or your meal prep and you're good to go.